All right, everybody, welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave here, starting another wonderful Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right? After the big game last night, after the big game last night, and after what transpired. Wow, what can we say? Because I got to ask you.
It wasn't TCU that showed up last night. It was the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Anyway, it was they had their uniforms on. Dale's coming in. He was running a little bit late. I can't wait to let him see that he was jumping in here a little bit later than normal. But he's going to join me in just 1 second about what's going on. There was and I'm just going to say that to me was the difference between the first place team and the last place team. I mean the number 4 team and the number 1 team. That difference last night, that was just two different clubs. I mean, right? I mean, there was just so much talent, it was overwhelming.
It really was. It really was.
65-7. Yeah.
Why would you run out the score like that, though?
Why? You just keep running the ball. I mean, they just keep.
I don't think it's running the score up. I think it's just the lack of the other team stopping it.
Yeah, and you're going to talk off camera, and so nobody can hear you, and we're going to have these weird, strange pauses. Come on over here. Jump on in here. And you put it on me for a minute. So, yeah, I tell you what, I honestly, and don't get me wrong by any stretch of the imagination, I actually watched about 15 minutes. And I was done. I took a little NyQuil and I was out. No, I had a little bit of a sneezing horribly yesterday. The pollen count for Mountain Cedar is up tremendously. It's crushing up here. I mean, have you had?
Yeah. My wife
everybody's walking around sneezing and coughing, and I'm telling. Have you ever been around Mountain Cedar when it pollinates?
I must be.
You ever seen it?
Yeah. I mean,
looks like the trees are on fire.
Yeah.
It's come when it comes off. It looks like smoke.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, and you can't even if it gets on you, in you, or around you, and then it's on your clothes. You got to take them off, take a shower before you go to bed, because I mean, you don't want to lay down on your pillow without cleaning up, because you'll just transfer that pollen that's in your hair and your everywhere onto your pillow, and then you're just rubbing on it all night, and you're getting that pollen all, and I mean, it's that bad. It really is. I was outside for just a little bit. We took the monsters down.
That would be your Christmas decorations.
Yeah, the monsters, and we took the monsters down, and
is there video of that?
No, I mean, they were deflated, and we put them back in the boxes and put them back up in the attic for another year. They're down for another year. But, I was outside, there's a lot of stakes in the ground with those things. I had to...
Not short stakes either, because at 30 foot tall, it takes a stake a little longer than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and anyway, I have this tool. It's a nail puller. Actually works really good in the yard to pull up stakes, but with a crowbar. It's a crowbar / nail puller. It's pretty big. I had it on when I drove a flatbed.
It's a crowbar. It's a crowbar and nail puller. It's a crowbar then.
It is a crowbar. And I had it when I ran a flatbed. I kept it all these years. And let me tell you, it'll help get a stake up out of the ground. But that I could tell from when I went out there to start, when I came back, it was on me. The pollen was on me, and I mean, Mountain Cedar was blowing, and the wind was blowing about 20 miles. You could just tell you just had it all. And I had a little bit of within an hour, I had runny nose, my throat was bothering me, I was sneezing like crazy, my eyes were itchy, my eyes were red, and I'm telling you, not happy at all. So I told my wife, no more working outside today, so I got lucky, because I had to take a shower. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah, my wife's been normally doesn't have allergies, just been sneezing up a storm. I've been trying to convince her it's the dogs and we should just get rid of them, but that's not working either.
It is the dogs. We're going to blame the dogs. Hey, is that showing up on the screen or just on that screen?
No, they're just showing.
Oh, it's just on your screen.
Oh, it's just on my screen. It's on the playback. Oh, yeah. It just looks weird. There was a article in the news that reported, and that was to that one he's showing. Elon Musk tweeted that he was going to disable. He was going to see about disabling drivers who wanted to disable the little warning that don't put your hands back on the wheel because it makes that noise. Hey.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Users with more than 10,000 miles on FSD beta should be given the option to turn off the steering wheel nag.
Agreed. Upcoming date in upcoming update coming January. So right away, the safety administration jumped all over him, trying to investigate because that was part of one of the safety agreements. I mean, it's built in, and they're disabling one of the safety features on the auto drive or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, that will not go well in a lawsuit. I mean,
Oh yeah, just disable the. We want to be able to disable. You know what? Airbag, turn that off. Anti-lock braking system, turn that off. Collision avoidance, who needs it?
Adaptive cruise, I want to get right up there in that grill.
What? Oh, that rear camera alarm. Turn that off. I don't really think some of these, the seat belt, just who needs it? Let's just take it out.
Yeah, that's why I got airbags. Oh, let's turn those off.
Let's turn those. Really? I mean, there's safety glass. Oh, just put regular window pane in there. I think there's some things that you shouldn't be able to optionize, right? I mean, really, once the car is built and designed with those safety features in mind, and I think you should not cut them out, right, with the touch of a button. And I think that's what he's...
Yeah, I mean, I drove one with the wheel nag and whatever, but there's a reason it's there because in the crosswinds, it still struggled mightily to hold the lane. And so you should probably have your hands on that and be in control of the car. Yeah.
There's been too many instances when something bad has happened. And are we ready there? Are we really there yet? And I think not.
Yeah. So are we making an option? Yeah. Let's just because all the good drivers, those would be the ones that'll disable it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The good drivers. Only the careful, good drivers with
the safe driver
that won't text.
Safe driver, you can disable this.
Oh, no. If you're a good driver, who admits to being a bad driver? I mean, really, if you go into a room out there,
actually, my youngest daughter.
Wow.
She goes, I'm not a very good driver. She says, I'm aware of that.
Well, okay. On an average,
Yeah,
if you polled 10 out of 100
that's
people,
right.
how many are actually raising their hand? Yeah, no, I suck.
Yeah.
But I think most of us think we're good drivers, right?
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it took those same 10 people to say, now, who's the best driver, or who's one of the best drivers? All 10 of them would raise their hands for that part of it. They just...
Yeah, let's not disable any of the safety
No.
features. I'll tell you what. Hey, thanks for coming in here. You're coming right back, right, in just a second?
Yep.
All right, come on back in just a second. And we'll be back in just a minute right here. We got an interview right after this.
I want to thank you for being on BCB Live.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you.
Hey,
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you, Andy. Have a good one, buddy. Thank you for joining BCB Live. I want to thank each and every one. Hey, thank you for taking time to join BCB Live.
I want to thank you for coming on and shedding light.
Thank you so much. Loved having you on here. Woo! Great job, Clara. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe, Dave here, along with Jeff McKinney, Vice President of Safety over there at the GTI Group. of companies. Jeff, real quick, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Go Dogs. I
Go
heard y'all talking about the TCU, and I'm from Atlanta, so go Dogs.
Yeah, you have every right to be pounding your chest today. That was
No
quite.
more interview today.
Well, yeah, that was good. You definitely, definitely demonstrated who's number one in the country. Yet again, 2 in a row, right? Been a long time since we had 2 in a row.
In the road, last time they had it was, 30, 40 years ago with Vince Dooley.
So it's going to be.
I just wish it was a better game. TCU's better than what they showed last night.
I think so. You know what? I don't know what transpired, but there's just some days you don't have it, and I'll tell you, and there's some days you can't be stopped. And yesterday, Georgia just couldn't be stopped. They were on a roll. They were ready, and they put it on them early and often.
Yeah,
all right, so let's jump right into Jeff. Let me just say, you're vice president over there at the GTI Group. Let me ask, just so if people don't know, what is the GTI Group, and how does Jetco delivery fall into that?
Well, about 4 years ago, the GTI Group, or an investment company, bought up about 6 companies and put us under the GTI Group of companies. So we have GTI Canada, GTI USA, Precision Specialized, Jetco, Nomad Transport, and Foxconn Logistics. So we're just a group of companies that we have a variety of services, transport management, brokerage, intermodal, a little bit of everything. We can help out in the transportation industry.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do those run under different MCs? Are they all under the same one? Or I'm just curious.
Different MCs.
I got you. Very interesting. How that plays out. Do you work with each one of those entities directly?
I do my best. I do what I can do here in the U.S. and Canada. I do the very best I can do with the Canadian group, but it's a challenge.
So here we go. We're gonna do a little bit of history on you. How long you been in trucking? Pretty much.
Well, I would say when back in 1988 when I left the police department in Atlanta, and I went and started driving a straight truck delivering pet food products, and just kind of moved my way up.
When you did that, did you ever envision yourself to be the vice president of safety somewhere at some group at the time, or you just kind of morphed into that throughout time?
It was when I was at a small company called Warner Enterprises, when there were less than 1,500 drivers, and someone started talking to me about going into the safety program there, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
Here's a great question, and I think I wanted to start with this because I kind of want to get into this. Why do you consider compliance and safety to be two completely different things?
It is completely two. You have compliance, which is regulatory. A driver's license or twigs, expirations, things of that nature, but that's not safety. Safety's behavior. Safety is a DNA. How do we act and how do we drive on the road? What type of behavior? And so you got to separate that. I mean, it's all one deal, safety and compliance, but you have to have a behavior side and you have your regulatory side.
And when you talk to both of those, are they? And I know you differentiate those, the compliance side. Obviously, those are boxes that you check. How do you check the boxes on the behavior side?
Well, we use a lot of the industry. The landscape of the industry is starting to change, and we're getting all these telematics. But you're just looking and trying to talk to the drivers. And again, we'll talk about that later. Talk to the drivers, not talking at them, but talking to the drivers and how they deal with the everyday interaction with the traffic, with the safety department, with the operations, and you hope that these professionals have the safety in their DNA, and they want to do the right thing every day and 24 hours a day.
And when you say safety in their DNA, are we talking about bringing out what really needs to happen, or when we talk to them? Because I think most of us want to do the right thing, but in essence, don't you believe that coaching is important? Redevelopment, retraining, continuing that process helps the driver to be better at what they do, the skill set at what they do?
From the Marine Corps and as a general aviation pilot, I'm all, it was continued education. And that's exactly right. It's coaching, being repetitive. And, you got to put attaboys in there. And you got to remember, too, when something does happen, was it a simple mistake or was it something deliberate? It's not, one thing, this driver did this and now we're going to beat him up or beat her up. It is, was this not a mistake? Can we work with this person and move forward? And, back then, for some of us that drove a long time ago, it was always, chop ahead. And it can't be that way any longer.
Yeah, I truly believe the pendulum has swung the other way. The days of 5,000 miles a week are gone. The days of how many miles did you drive safely are here. And
Yeah.
and I truly believe that it is all of our responsibility, and it doesn't matter what department you work in. It truly, you don't have to work in safety. You don't have to work in operations. You can work in customer service. You can work in recruiting. It doesn't matter what department you work in. I truly believe that the safety culture, the safety ideology, and the safety message has to come from everyone, no matter where you touch it, no matter where they go and what they do. Do you agree?
I agree. My safety department is the entire company. It's not just one person. It's not Jeff saying, we got to do this. It's everybody as a team. And you got to work with the front lines, and that front lines next to those professional drivers. It's got to be everybody's responsibility.
And here's an interesting question, and I'm going to ask it because I saw this question and I want to know. You said instead of using the term driver, what should we call the backbone of our country instead?
Professional commercial vehicle operators, professional drivers, professionals. I treat these professionals as pilots. I think of it this way. We see the pilots at the airport. They have about 40 to 300 or 400 people behind them, and they're flying them, getting to their destination safely. But how many people are around a professional driver every single day and have our lives in their hands somewhat? So, they're the backbone. They're the ones that kept moving. Unfortunately, it wasn't fair for these professionals during the pandemic, but they are professionals. They do move America, and we owe a lot to these professionals that are in these big, huge 80,000-pound pieces of equipment, 65 to 100 and some odd, feet long. It's a huge undertaking, and I challenge people to, get to know a professional driver and learn exactly what it is that we do. It is neat. I can remember as a kid always wanting to see a big truck rather than the fire truck and the police truck, and I've been to some of these career days with at schools, and everybody they go straight to the truck. So it's a huge, I loved it. I loved driving, and it was almost like a paid vacation. See the country, see this beautiful country on the road.
Yeah, sometimes we consider here at BCB Live, we consider the professional driver when we talk about it, just like in the NFL or just like in the NBA, they're the most elite. They're the top of their game. I mean, they're A drivers. They didn't get a C on their test. They got an A, and they should be considered as such when it comes to something like driving. If you've ever, and Jeff, obviously you drove like if you've ever had to back one of these things into a hole in the dark, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to trying to do it as safely as possible every single time. You know, we talk about training, and we talk about how to utilize technology as we move forward. How has technology benefited? I know that we have new safety guidelines. I know that we have new collision avoidance systems and lane departure, but there's other tools that we're using to help us identify behaviors, right? I mean, the units and the logs, they're also helping to identify behaviors that you've been talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you have the ELD telematics that we have in it. It's bringing in so much information. We have some drive cams in our trucks. We have them facing inward and outward. And, you use all this information, and it's so much information, but you have to figure out what's going to help you. But you got to be transparent with the professional driver and say, okay, how is it going to help the driver? Don't just put stuff in there and say, this is how you use it, and don't say why you're using it. We're trying to help our professionals be even better and help them become better outside that commercial vehicle when they go home, and it follows them.
Can it be a hindrance if not used properly?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we just start throwing things in these trucks, we're not transparent with the driver, they're gonna, the time that they have, the way they will think about things, it will be a distraction to them, saying, why do they do this? The big brother's coming after me. Why they want to watch me do this? Why do they watch my speeding? And it gets, the longer the drivers are in there, in their trucks driving and doing everything the right way, you're in there alone, and your mind's going to start talking to you, and things, the information that you have, it's going to start getting diluted, and things can change on you in a hurry.
You talk about distractions. Obviously, technology to me has played an important part in not only identifying with a cell phone. I mean, a long time ago, we've always had distractions while driving, each and every one of us. So whether they be daydreaming, whether they be eating, whether they be talking to somebody, or not just paying attention, and then the cell phone and the technology that's added to it. What's the best way to combat these types of behaviors?
Looking at when we put the cameras into the trucks, most of the drivers, when we first started the program, we brought the drivers in, let them look at themselves, and we have habits that sometimes we don't recognize that we do. And just showing them, not even say, hey, during a coaching session, hey, look at this. You were doing this when you were driving. You were driving one-handed with your left hand. You looked out to the left, and you started turning left, or you started turning right because you started looking right. They don't notice that until they see it on the video. So I think the videos helped us quite a bit. And then again, you have to sit there and keep talking and educating about distracted driving. I mean, we got distractions in every part of our lives. We just need to learn how to, it's not ignore it, but we have to learn how to negotiate some of these distractions that are in our everyday lives.
I've often explained it to, and it doesn't matter whether it's forward-facing or outward-facing or inward-facing. I've always explained that a lot of these videos that we've done and utilize to help retrain and help coach, it's just like Tom Brady or any other professional athlete or anybody that's a profession goes and watches video of themselves perform to try to make themselves better. Whether you're a baseball player watching your swing, or you're a football player watching the plays that you run and what the mistakes that you make, we all watch video, or even the professionals utilize that video to make themselves better. I think when you're talking about watching themselves and watching it and looking at and identifying things that they didn't know they were doing, I think we're all subject to that. If we want to get better, we have to kind of see what it is we're doing, right, Jeff?
Yeah, my training is the way I've always gone is see it, say it, and do it. So if they see it, they can say, "Oh, I noticed that I was leaning to the left and driving to the left, and I'll go in there and correct it." It's a heck of a lot better than just sitting down with me and I'm trying to describe what you're doing.
Let me ask you a quick. I mean, we're talking. We've heard, and I just want you to hear, Jeff. What are some of the arguments that you've heard from drivers about or against some of this stuff? Just when you're working with them, I know a lot of them are resistant to change right off the bat. When do you see the light come? What does it usually take for that light to come on?
For our case at Jetco, the very first crash, a young lady made a left-hand turn on Highway 59, and she turned to the right just before we got to her, and the poor driver hit her rear-ended, and it kind of opened our eyes that it was not his fault. He saw that, the police saw that, and it exonerated the driver, and everybody saw that. And again, we put all this telematics and equipment into our trucks and into our trailers and everyday lives. We want to make ourselves better, and it's not just for the company to be more productive, but it's how can I help you become a better professional driver? How can I help you get home every day to go see your significant other? How can you get home and go see your children? And so that's the way that we tried out. And we started out with a couple of drivers and let them talk about it, and it spread out. And then when we had our first crash, within a week that we put this in, the ROI was great, both financially and for the drivers who saw, wow, it's a great deal. They're not spying on me; it's helping me.
It's been studied that over, what is it, about 90% of all the crashes aren't typically the fault of the commercial driver, but these things kind of help exonerate the driver in a great deal. I just wonder, where do you see us going with safety over the next couple of years? Where are we headed, Jeff, honestly, with not only with you, but in how we incorporate it? I truly believe it's so important, it's necessary for us to continue to talk about how are we going to expand it.
Well, we're looking at the landscape has changed again with all these telematics, but what I think is going to change a lot more is the customers, the trucking companies, their clients, all these new customers. I think the safety is going to spread out a lot more than it is now, and be more accountable. We've had so many problems with professional drivers going somewhere and sitting and wasting their hours of service. I think that's going to turn here pretty soon, where they're going to start thinking about safety and thinking about how long some of these professionals are sitting in these trucks, and it's just going to blossom out. I think it's not going to be just in the trucking industry. It's going to spread its wings and get out to others outside the transportation industry.
I hope that you're right, and not just that. I hope at some point we can, because as soon as everyone gets behind the wheel, safety needs to be their main priority. It doesn't matter if you're a professional driver or not, and it's going to be something that we are going to have to lead by example first in this industry. We're going to have to be the very best at it so that others can follow. And I believe you 100% behind that, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate you coming in today and joining us for an interview. I want to congratulate. I want to thank you for your service into the industry, and thank you for doing the safety job every day. I know how vitally important. Before you get out of here, I like to ask our guests that they state their name, who they're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for me?
I can. It says, hi, I'm Jeff McKinney, Vice President of Safety for the GTI Group of Companies, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the industry.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff. I do appreciate it, and have a great day. And by the way, go Dogs.
Y'all take care.
All right, bye now.
Bye-bye.
There you go. There's Jeb. We'll be back in just a second, right after this to conclude with safety.
That happens, the service that trucking company that the next driver receives is bad.
Energy problems that we're having and not releasing it and over in Russia and the restrictions of fuel and our international trade, I see that compounding it and making it really difficult because I guarantee you, when it gets cold and the distillates are starting to get run at a higher premium, diesel's going to go up.
All right, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Day here, along with Double Check Dale, back in the studio, back behind the news desk. What are we talking about?
This week we're going to talk about stop sign safety.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. You know, sometimes drivers, you know, we look at a lot of different reasons why drivers run or roll a stop sign or shoot through it or whatever. You know, number one, sometimes drivers are not familiar with an area and run a stop sign by pure accident. You know what the definition, DOT's definition of a legal stop is? A complete stop?
A definition of a legal stop, and that means you come to that there is no more forward momentum of the vehicle?
And the needle on the speedometer is 0. So that's what they say is a legal stop.
Okay.
And you know, with today's technology, that's all measurable. We go back and look at the metrics. It all shows how slow we were going or not. So that's what they consider a legal stop. So drivers, intersections are very dangerous. We all know that. One of the most dangerous places out there. Stop for the stop sign. Stop means stop.
What if the speedometer was broken and the lowest it had was 5 miles an hour?
Okay,
but
see, that's why I said a complete stop is when there is no forward momentum and. See, Dave, that's an and.
I know what a plus sign means, so 1 plus 0 is still 1.
No, I didn't say add, I said and.
And is a plus sign. It's not or.
And the needle on the speedometer is 0. So
I know, I'm just saying,
yeah.
That was my question. I was
Hey,
just
producer,
curious.
do we have some videos?
Yeah, let's go to a video.
Oh, you know what this is, Dave?
We're following too close.
Yep, you got it right. 1 for 1, buddy. You know, 3 lanes of traffic. Speed's pretty good. You know, we're well below the speed limit, so driver probably gets that false sense of security that go, hey, you know what, I'm below the speed limit, my distance is good. No, it's not. We're too close here. We're under a second here. Need to back off. We can't see what's going on around or in front of us because the big truck in the right lane and another truck that we can't see right in front of us. So, hey, driver, back off. Get some space for us, okay?
Next video.
Nighttime, too close. And again, you know, have that impaired vision because it's dark. We can't see as far ahead, see what's going on. You know,
I guess we all like the left-hand lane. Don't want to use the right one, right?
It looks that way. Things we're going past, and there's, you know, nothing happening in that right lane.
Weird. Okay, next video.
Is this next video or just an extension of the last one? It's dark. We're too close. We're in the left lane. Create some space. You can't make them drive faster by crowding them out. Just back off. Enjoy the ride. Way too close here. And the thing here is we're over the speed limit. We're too close. And we're not making any changes. We've got to make a change. Once we recognize or we hear that in-cab coaching or we see we're too close, back off. Just back off, drivers. There we go.
Slow down.
You know, I love this video right here because we talk about yielding the right of way instead of taking it. If you watch this, I mean, the driver is seeing the big picture all the way up. Sees it's got on-merging traffic, starts slowing down well ahead of the merge point, allowing that truck to come on, yielding the right of way instead of taking it. Masterful job. Masterful.
Masterful. That means better than average.
Yeah, Dave the dictionary.
Just saying. All right. Hey, everybody. Hope you have a great, wonderful, and safe day. And thanks for joining us here on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.